Dear Chairperson, having your private life intruded can be very humiliating and very displeasing, even for a mere human like me and you. Annually, over 90% of celebrities have their life intruded by the media, and over 20 celebrities want to commit suicide because of the violations of a fundamental right like this by the paparazzi. Max Mosley is a very influential businessman, and recently sexual images of him were published. This affects not only his public image, but his private life, his relationships, and his mental health, so this man had to suffer a lot, only because media cannot stop intruding the private life of public figures, and will do anything in order to acquire information, including being very aggressive, and this should not be tolerated by society, because first it's an attack on democracy, but secondly because privacy is a human right that every human being should have. So that's why today we strongly believe that we should prevent the media from intruding the private life of public figures like Max Mosley by law. In my speech I'll have two big parts. The first one I'll answer 5 questions to some framing, and the second one I'll have 2 arguments. The first one about why you should protect your private life as a public figure, and the second one what's okay and what's not okay for the media to know and to publish. The first question is about what do we mean by public people, and I'm telling that public people mean any entity that can be influential or powerful in a state. So we're talking about businessmen, singers, actors, and so on. What do we mean by media? And I think that media means any entity that can inform. So we're talking about newspapers, online and printed, TV, radio, and so on. Why the state should do this change with the help of the law? And I think the state should be doing this change because it has the highest authority in our country. Because if media cannot act responsibly by its own, we should do this change by law. And the last question, and the most important, what do we mean by public and private? And I think that public means anything that's strictly related, directly related to their field of work. So it's public if we're talking about the concert, but it's private if we're talking about what happened after the concert. To understand our first argument, we firstly need to discuss the example of Naomi Campbell, a supermodel who was photographed in humiliating instances, and that put her in great depression and lost her a great number of fans. So we're talking about humans suffering because their private life was intruded. And that's why, if people find out personal stuff about you, that stuff may become more mainstream than your actual professional activity, because people like gossip. And it's very hard to change a mentality. It's way more easier and way more cost efficient if we apply a very efficient law like this motion. The second part of this argument is about how knowing personal stuff about people can destroy their career, because if their expectations of the public are not the same as their private life, that may be a very big impulse for them to lose trust and to lose faith in that public person, because their private life and public life are distinct. And I'm telling that it should be distinct because being a celebrity doesn't mean that you're no longer a human with their own needs, with their own wishes, and their own vices that should be fulfilled in a private environment. Right now, the media is destroying the private life of public people because media doesn't care about people, doesn't care about human rights, and doesn't care about tears. And we need to make the media care, and we can't discuss with the media because that won't work. We need to force the media to do something. We need to make the media care by force, and that's why we should apply this motion. The second argument is about what's okay and what's not okay for the people to know. And I think that it's okay for the people to know about those who are in power or those who are influential, because it's normal to do that. So it's okay if they know about the next album for a singer or about political views about a politician, but it's not okay if they want to know private stuff and that public person doesn't give his consent. Why? The first reason is about the fact that privacy is a fundamental right, and I already explained you why we should protect your privacy, but the second one is about a moral duty. And public people don't have a moral duty to their public to make their whole life public. Being a celebrity, again, doesn't mean that you're no longer a human. Being a celebrity doesn't make your whole life public, but only the part that is interacting with the actual public. That's why being a celebrity means that you're a human who has a still private life and a still public life, and that's why we should try to do anything in order to protect it. And that's why you don't have a moral duty to show your private life. We're living in a democracy, so if I have the right to privacy and you have the right to privacy, someone who's a celebrity should have the right to privacy too, and we should force the media to stop intruding the private life of public people, because we care about humans, we care about human beings that are being violated by this media.